Okay, welcome to another episode of the Leaving California podcast. Here we explore stories of individuals and families who are trying to make the right decision on whether or not to leave California for greener pastures. I'm your host, Cherie Harrington, and today we have a very special guest with us, Chaston Marcos, who is a real estate agent in Maui. And he's here to share insights about the ups and downs of making the move from Golden State to Maui. So we're going to talk to you guys about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes from moving from California to Maui. So welcome, Chaston. I'm so excited to have you here.
Cherie, thanks so much for having me. I'm also very excited to be here. So thanks again.
Awesome. Awesome. So Chaston and I have known each other, I don't know, 5 years or so now. When I first started building my real estate referral network, he was one of the first agents that I met. And I think you might have been in Maine, right? When I first
Yeah.
met you. And then you moved to Maui. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about your business and how you ended up becoming a real estate agent in Maui?
Yeah, so short story. Born and raised in Hawaii, right on the island of Oahu. And then attended the University of Hawaii, shifted gears and finished my degree in Portland, Maine. That was a change with my now fiance, Calais. And so I started real estate up there, not knowing anybody, joined a fantastic group, the Hatcher Group with John Hatcher. And the plan was always to move back to Hawaii. And so back in 2022, after doing real estate in Portland, Maine for 4 years, um, back to Maui, and now I have my own team as a solo agent and a few assistants, and so doing really well. And I'm glad we were able to stay connected and stay within the real estate referral network group. And
Me
yeah.
too. What a change from, so you know all about moving from one place that's like paradise, right? Like we think
Yeah.
California is kind of paradise. It depends on what you're looking at, what part of it, and then moving somewhere cold. So this is a good discussion to have with you because you can help people really understand like the things you should look out for when you're moving to a
Mhm.
completely different area. And then Maui, so my perception of it, I've been there once. It was
Yeah.
gorgeous, amazing, beautiful, very expensive from what I remember. It's been a few years, but I think it's been
Yeah.
about 10 years since I've been there. Oh no, it hasn't. Maybe 5 years. Anyway, so tell us what you love about living in Maui. What are some things that like people when they're thinking about moving there, what are some of the things that you think they would love about it?
Yeah, so a lot of my conversations I have daily is people who vacationed here, either just last week or they've been vacationing there every year with their families since they grew up, and they want a permanent secondary home. And to them, they don't use the term vacation property because it's not just vacation. Maui's really become a second home to them.
Hmm.
So we have those conversations. We have different types of properties they look into versus whether it's short-term vacation rental, they come here over a few weeks or months, and then they rent it out while they're not here and let it take care of itself, or they do look for a secondary home and where they spend 6 months out here. So whether it's for a job position or they feel spiritually connected with the land, with the people, and they feel like where their next chapter is going to be. And then, of course, retiring, where they just absolutely love Maui, the people, the beaches, the views. And, when they are here, they really create this community. So whether they're vacationing, they see the same people, they see the same people vacationing the same time. So it really does become a secondary home. And then some people make that jump to make that their primary residence. And I know we're going to talk about property taxes and taxes in general here. So um, there's a little bit about that. But to answer your question, going back to my short story of, why, how I got here, so moved to Portland, Maine, and I can share if anybody has questions about moving from paradise into um, winter 6 months out of the year, and then making that move back to Hawaii. So, my experience. driving cross country and arriving in San Francisco, and then flying out from San Francisco to back to Hawaii. I experienced shipping our dog, or bringing our plane. That's why we made the drive, and then packing up a pod and then shipping our car. So, fortunately, on through a lot of my help.
You're cutting out a little bit. Okay, so tell me about the shipping thing. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. I forgot or didn't even think about, you're moving over water. So how does all of that work?
Yes, so actually very easy. There are lots of different companies that handle everything from um, loading up your home and then doing the ground transportation to the nearest port city and then the port city to Hawaii. Um, and then that's as far as if you do, your pack your own container, and then going over your cars, whether or not it makes sense to ship your car or sell it
Mhm.
where you buy a new one. And then same thing with furniture as well, just because the size of the shipping container is what you're paying for. And then
Okay.
financially, if even if the same furniture fits in the home itself and those room dimensions. So we do a lot of planning um, in addition to at home search.
So what does that cost typically? Like what size home did you move from and what did it cost? Like did you pack a lot of the stuff yourself or did you have someone do it? Like I don't even have a clue what that would cost.
Yeah. So our cost maybe about $5 to $8 total. Um, then what we did was our U-Pack, where they drop off a container and we pack up our own. But we got rid of all of our large furniture, our bed frame, our sofa, our dining table. We sold all of that and really put just our personal items in this thing. I mean, we have a lot of personal items that filled almost the entire. Um, but and they pick it up from our address and they handle all shipping, and then in about 3 to 4. It was really great. About 3 to 4 weeks, it arrived, and they literally drop it off to your front doorstep.
And tell
And
me
then
again how much it costs because you cut out when you said that.
yeah, about it can be roughly 5 to 8 thousand, and
Oh my
that's
God.
all.
And that was just for your personal that was no
Yeah,
furniture. Wow. Okay. I never thought about that part of it. That's interesting. And 3 to 4 weeks to get your stuff.
yeah, yeah, and then about 2 to 3 thousand to ship a car from the West Coast to Hawaii. Um,
Okay.
one one detail to note is anywhere around the world ships to Oahu. That's kind of like business island, and then from there they ship it to the outer islands. And there are only two companies that ship out of there is Pasha and Young Brothers. So just
Okay.
know when
So
or
what do you know anyone that's shipped like an entire house full of furniture? Like what would that cost?
not yet. I'm
Probably
excited.
no one does that. It's crazy. It'd be
Yeah,
cheaper just to buy furniture.
it would. Well, it depends, right? And that's why the cost of living is so high in Hawaii. Everything is shipped here,
That's
and so
true. That's true. Okay. Interesting.
and a lot of the times we don't have the same type of furniture stores that matches your style. So you
Okay.
may shipping that you purchase online to come. But I haven't helped anyone move an entire home with everything, including furniture, only because a lot of the time downsizing, right? Their 3 to 5 thousand square foot home is not going to fit in their 2,000 square foot home, across the street from the beach. So
Right. Right. I had a question too, backing up. So you were talking about secondary homes. Do you know like what the percentage is of people that live there or a rough estimate of people that live there that are permanent residents versus the people that have secondary homes there?
I don't have that statistic. We do have about 160,000 residents in general on Maui. Yeah. But
Because I know a lot of people that have like condos there or homes there that they're Airbnb-ing and then they're just kind of going there when they can. But so what is it like? Give me a couple different stats on prices for homes. Like what is like a two-bedroom condo or whatever, a smaller
Mhm.
condo cost versus like a 3,000 square foot home? I can't even imagine. I think it's
Well,
worse than here.
our median sale price for single family homes in all of Maui are 1.3 million. Um,
Okay.
that that'll typically get you a three-bedroom, two-bath, 1,600 square foot home in your typical suburban neighborhood. And
Okay.
then here would be about 2 to 3 million single family homes in that 2,000 square foot and up price range in more upscale neighborhoods. And then, of course, depending on location, the interior design um, and structure, that can just go higher. In addition to ocean views and proximity to the water.
Okay.
Then on the have two types, right? We have the long term. That's typically starting around 500,000 for a two-bedroom, two-bath condo. That's long-term residences, and that can go up to about a million five for really nice upscale um, condominium living.
Okay.
Um, high rises here, it is a lot of them feel homey. We have a lot of villa detached homes that are condominiumized, and then low-rise structures. And then
Okay.
for vacation rental, entry level, studio or one bedroom, those what I would say is those all range based off of the building, the location, the views. In the same building alone, you can have a ground floor garden view condo that's worth 500,000, and then just on the other side of the building, same layout, different ocean views that almost doubled. Um, and that's just because it's based off of an income approach of what that unit makes
Oh,
annual.
okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, our median price in San Diego is like 1 million right now,
Hmm.
but that's definitely, I think it's more expensive where you are. It's crazy. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like we think it's ungodly expensive here, but then I hear of other areas and I'm like, okay. Okay. So tell me about the property taxes. How does that work here? It's 1% of your purchase price. It
Hmm.
can go up 2% a year, but very rarely. We don't get reassessed every year like most
Hmm.
states do. So how does it work there?
Yep. So it is based off of your newest sale price, right? So that's what I would say is Maui's county's tax is significantly lower. They do favor primary residences. So on top of a $300,000 home exemption off of your assessed value, um, the primary or the primary tax is only, I want to say about 0.20% of
Oh,
the.
wow.
So a lot of the times you're only paying $100 to $200 a month for, roughly 2,000 and some change a year if it's your primary residence.
Okay.
Um, Here goes up. So for example, the primary residence is about $1.80 per $1,000. The next tier above that is $3.25. And then the tier above that, I believe, is $5 and some change. Um, and that's for primary residences. Then, where the county of Maui makes their money is their usage. So the different usages there are secondary home, not owner occupied, and then short-term vacation rental. And what's really weird is you're even if you use a short-term rental condo as a primary residence, they will still tax you off of the highest and best use class for the
Mm.
unit. So you'd still be stuck with paying that property taxes based off of the short-term rental rate versus the primary home rate.
Do you think that's because they think that those people, even though they're saying their primary residence, they're still Airbnb, like they're trying to find a loophole?
Yeah, I think so, but I think, you know, I that's a hard one. I've had conversations with the tax assessment office, and that's just what, back in the last 20 to 30 years when short-term vacation rental just boomed on Maui, that
Yeah.
was the thing that this entire complex will forever be used as, their short-term vacation rental. Um, and I think, in my opinion, I think Maui does not have the officials to regulate and enforce. So I think it's a lot easier for them to manage that this complex is their, their tax, this is their tax rate and versus each individual unit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Hmm.
And then do you get reassessed every year for your property taxes, or is it just when it's a new purchase that you just stick with that price?
So I don't believe it's every year, but I do believe, they make their way like maybe every couple of years. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, and that's been the conversation lately is a lot of these newer condos that have been renovated in some complexes, they have the new sales, they're resold, and somebody who's been living there since, the 70s, their assessed value up because their
Yeah.
neighbor. So uh,
Okay.
I have those conversations too of can I get, a broker's price opinion on my unit and help fight this assessed value because my unit looks nothing like this specific unit. And so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. What about homeowners insurance? So we here, we have a lot of fires, obviously. So ours has just been going up like every year, sometimes doubling, tripling, people getting canceled. It's kind of been a mess. So what is,
Mhm.
well, you guys just had the huge fire there. So what is it like there now with homeowners insurance?
Yeah, so it really wasn't bad until the fires of Lahaina and Upcountry in 2023.
Okay.
Um, so a lot of older homes and single wood frame homes, homes that haven't upgraded their electrical, their roofs, aren't able to get insurance quotes and higher premium, but that it has doubled or sometimes even tripled for some of them. And we do have a lot of condo complexes here as well. And a lot of those also have doubled because a lot of their insurance master insurance policies were
Mm.
under for the rebuilding cost. So that significantly went up. And so a lot of people, these are not average people who are purchasing these properties, right? So they don't have the funds, so they're also, getting, facing hard times here. Um,
Right. And how, so we only see what's on the media, right? And it depends on what kind of media we're looking at and all that kind of stuff. So, what, like, if you were to go vacation there now or go look for a
mhm.
property there now, like, what can you expect? Are there still areas that are completely devastated? Is some of it rebuilt? Like, what is actually happening there?
Yep. I want to say, physically, when you're looking physically, emotionally, and spiritually, people are still healing. But there are signs of rebuilding. There are a lot of empty lots. What's a real great sign of hope are, the plants and trees around these empty lots are starting to grow.
Okay.
The Lahaina street, that's, still growing, and that's like one of the first symbols of hope, right? It's we
Right.
can.
Right.
There are still areas that are local residents only. Um, so what I do if you are watching this video, I do kindly ask you respect their space. I know it's interesting and or if you think you're trying to help, just be mindful, right? What these people have gone through for sure.
To me,
But
you
as
mean
far
to go into the area, like you can't
to
go in.
going in those and if you vacation on the west side, so any towns past Lahaina like Kaanapali, Honokowai, Kahana, Napili, and Kapalua, you will have to drive through that burnt zone. So
Okay.
you will see it, and you can see it from the roads driving through. So a warning for that if it it is sensitive to a lot of people, even if you're just driving through. But looking at properties here, vacationing here, to me, it's you have that art, but you're still able to enjoy the island. You're still able to come here. Maui's economy thrives off of tourism, so they are
Right.
still urging a lot of people to come and enjoy their times here. And um, yeah,
Okay. That's so sad. It's just,
and yeah,
it's
going back to
easy.
some insurance.
You're cutting out just a little bit. I might have to have you
Okay.
repeat. Yeah, repeat that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, going back to insurance, in addition to if your lender requires it or if you want additional insurance, we do have hurricane insurance, flood insurance if you are in a flood zone or a sea level impact zone.
Okay.
And those, differ per um, coverage that you have, but I would say an additional $1,200 to $3,000 per year would be the typical estimates for basic coverage.
Okay. Wait. 3,000 per year on top of your rate? Or
Um,
that's your rate, like 1,200 to 3,000?
yeah, that's your rate. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was like, oh my God.
No.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all over the board here too. I mean, it depends on if you have a condo or a big house or whatever, but I know like with our own home, I think we were paying like 2,400 a year, and
Mhm.
then I know that our second home went up to like almost 6,000. It's insane within a
Yeah.
year. I mean, we've only had it a year, so it's really interesting right now. What about like prices of gas and food? And I'll just tell you like what I remember. And I was in the touristy areas, right? So I'm sure they're
Mhm.
higher prices. But the one thing that stuck out to me was a $25 jar of peanut butter. And it
Mhm.
was like a jar of peanut butter. It wasn't like a tub of peanut butter.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, how do people live here? So what do things like typical things cost there? Is it that outrageous, or is it just in the touristy areas?
No, so I mean the touristy areas are I don't think that much inflated. So for example, gas prices right now are probably just under $5 for your unleaded.
Okay.
Um, I think to on higher grocery prices because I get it shipped or flown in.
Right.
Uh, you know, unique where there is either very local neighborhoods and then very touristy neighborhoods. And all of the like high-end, nice restaurants that you want to enjoy are gonna be in those touristy neighborhoods.
Mm,
Or we all love a good meal. So those plates average, 35 to $50 a plate and um,
okay.
enjoy. And then yeah,
It's just crazy how expensive everything has gotten right now.
yeah.
Trying to think what else. How about like school system? What are the school systems like that? Is it just different all over the island, or can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. So it's different all over the island. I'd say the island is like a very small like um it's right. There are different there are different schools in different districts. If you're in one district, you go to that school. There is a public school for almost, a good amount of parts of the island. So, and then there are, a handful of private schools that everyone seeks out for, in how you were raised. You believe that's, for higher education or the type of schooling they get. So, for those who do make the jump to here. A lot of times, what they tell me, it's they prefer and want to raise their kids here because of the community and the school system is good enough to bring them here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What would you, so when I talk to agents in like Florida, or because it's very hot there and it rains a lot, and there's lots of bugs, humidity, or then I talk to somebody in Minnesota and it's like freezing half the year, like what's is there, are there seasons, and is there a worse time of year that you can think of that people should go during that time of year to make sure that they actually like it there? Does that make sense?
It does, it does. So we
Okay.
don't have seasons here. It's just paradise every day. But that we do have so we do have a minuscule of four seasons all in one day, really, and in different parts of the island. So it can be dry and hot in Kihei, but humid in Wailuku, or it could be downpouring, up country. And it's all within, a short 10-15 minute drive. So, as far as a season, I would say the season would be the complete opposite of what you're used to. So if you don't like the hot, if you being come when
Shoot, you're cutting out a little bit.
I see, yeah, I think I can see it now when I cut out a little bit. But
Okay.
going come, I would say my advice would be come during the times that you're not used to, or what you're concerned about. So, if you don't like if you're trying to get away from the heat, come during our summer months of July and August when it's 90 degrees out, and um, or if you're scared of hurricanes, tornadoes, come during our winter time, or it's kind of between our fall and winter where the hurricanes are just in the Pacific and they're just going.
Yeah.
But the island chain is so unique, and what's great about it is the island itself kind of protects us from the hurricanes. Um, I'm not a scientist, don't really understand some things that I read when I try. But the mountain ranges and how it's almost like a bubble, a protective bubble around us. And so the hurricanes come close, they bring in rain, wind, some waves, but knock on wood, but it hasn't ever really hit head on. And Maui's actually protected by a couple of other islands around us that stops a lot of the full impact.
Okay.
We've had some scares, but nothing has happened.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's so important for people to go during the worst times. And I know they want to go during the best time because they want to see how awesome it is wherever they're moving
Hmm.
to or whatever. But I feel like, and in my experience of the people that I know that have left the state and then they're like, oh my God, I hate it here. And then they come back. It's because they went to Florida during the winter where it's,
Hmm.
70 degrees and every day is beautiful. And,
Yeah.
so it's every state is different. And I feel like, being in San Diego, especially, like, our weather doesn't change much. It's in the low 60s in the winter and then high 80s maybe in the summer. So we're used to that. And I always caution people, like, really understand what your why is. Like, why are you moving? Are you moving closer to family or for a job? Then that's one thing, right? But if you're moving because you're upset with the political climate or whatever, the housing prices here or whatever, and you go to another state, you may not like it. And if you sell your house first and move, you're screwed. I mean, all the
Yeah.
situations I've seen so far where people have sold and moved somewhere that they really didn't understand. I know one lady that moved to Arizona. She was there 2 months, came back. A couple that moved to Florida, they were there 6 months, bought a house there, came back. But now they can't afford to buy here because the prices keep going up. Even though the media wants you to think, the sky's falling right now, the prices are still up here. So it's really important. And I know it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's from a real estate agent. You're not going to hear, like, don't sell your house. But I
Yeah.
feel bad for people that sell and then they can't come back. So I would just tell you, if you're not sure about where you're moving, like, rent your house out if you can and rent in your new area. Make sure you like it. Then sell your house and buy a house there. But I'm seeing too many people that are leaving just in a frenzy or anger or whatever, and then want to come back and they can't. And it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Is there
You know,
anything else? Go ahead.
yeah, in addition to that, Cherie, it's you here, but make gonna move here. We really do a dive in. different neighborhoods that are available, because you're not going to be living in those touristy areas where,
Right.
are changing every week. And that's sometimes that's all they know. Like that's all they know is that one strip of beach there.
Right. Right. And I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, but any of the areas that you move in Hawaii, like there's a deep culture there. And if you don't understand the neighborhood that you're moving into and you don't have a good realtor that's going to really
Yeah.
explain things to you, you could be somewhere, again, maybe this isn't true, but that you're not welcome, right? Because they only want people that are from Hawaii living there, or it's just not a good culture fit or whatever. And I think it's much different moving there than moving from here to Arizona.
Yeah, and you're definitely in the right ballpark.
Okay. I don't know how to
And
say it politically
you know
correct. I'm like, how do I word this?
and as far as it's nothing unspoken or or everyone talks about it. And a funny, not a funny thing, but what people joke around about when they're here is, their nickname is Haole, Haole. That's basically, a lot of people feel like it's to describe white, but it's actually just somebody who's not from the island, from
Okay.
Lahaina. And you use the right word, culture. And it's not only just, there are different Hawaiian cultures, but the local culture is basically just, give back to the land, be respectful and nice to your neighbors. And
Yeah.
um, my that's a part of my mission statement, is to help build that gap between, just being unknowledgeable about that difference in local culture. So helping people, become, or educating newcomers and help them find that balance when they do make the move here with their culture, because Hawaii is full of different diverse ethnicities, from the early 1900s when they were brought here, right? So that's not something that people shy away from. So we definitely have that conversation of different areas, and just helping them be mindful of that new culture that they're moving into.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Yeah.
think that's super important. Well, thank you. I appreciate this. This was really good information for everyone, I think. What's the best way for people to reach you if they want to talk about moving to Maui?
Yeah. So you can I'll share everything. So you can call or text me anytime. My cell phone number is 808-371-6475. And Cherie can put that in the description as well. Or you can find social media, my first and last name, Chaston Marcos. I'm on Instagram and YouTube a lot. And if you enjoy these, you can watch my YouTube videos. I help educate people before they make their move. I've had people watch, for over a year and just base everything off of that. Um,
Nice. No
yeah,
pressure.
so yeah.
No, your videos are amazing. I mean, I've watched you from the beginning of making videos to now, and your videos are great. So I think that would your
Thank you.
YouTube channel would be a great resource for people that want to move there or buy, an Airbnb there or whatever as well. So thank you. I appreciate your time so much, and thanks for being such an incredible real estate referral partner and friend to me. And I actually get to see you in about 2 weeks.
In a couple of weeks. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, yeah, thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, Sherry, thanks so much for having me again.
All
Aloha.
right.